Howdy y'all, it's day 21 on the CT. Hope I'm going to recap day 20. Day 20 started out well. I was still up at elevation, so nice views. Then dropped down below tree line, but a pretty nice forest and with potential for moose sighting. Still didn't see one though. I've seen one earlier, but whatever. I always want to see more. And then had a nice lunch at a spring, dried some stuff off. It didn't rain, but there was condensation on it, on the tent fly. But the afternoon kind of sucked. It was a big slog. The trail was following kind of a long ridge. It was going through a really boring pine forest. It was just tree trunks and like some dead trees, like pickup sticks, and up and down, and with some pretty steep ascents and descents with a lot of loose rock and gravel, so it was slippery, and not a lot of water through that section. So really just kind of boring and not great. Did finally get to a water source kind of at the end of that section. Met a new through hiker going south named Joe. Hopefully I see him again. He seemed like a nice guy. We chatted for a bit. And then Javelin, who I'd ridden into town with Salida and John, into Salida with John also. I'd met him, he's from England. He caught up with me after spending the night in Salida. So I had a 7-mile head start. And by the time I had gone 15 miles, he had gone 22 and caught me. So he's got a super light pack. I mean, he's done a bunch of trails and really likes to go fast. So we also chatted for a little bit. And that got me kind of going a little bit later than I wanted to kind of get to where I was thinking about camping. And that was also tricky because basically we were chatting. No, actually that was later. But there was a water source where, you could fill up, and then you had a 12-mile, gap between water sources. And I actually wanted to kind of camp in between there, so I wanted to do dry camping. And so I got to that source. Javelin had already set up his tent. And he actually put something in the trail, and it said like Jav, and he had a big arrow pointing left so that, I believe me, so that I could see where he was camping. I think he kind of wanted me to camp there. But I wanted to get further because for day 21 today, I needed to do some pretty good miles to get close to Highway 114, where I'm going to try to hitchhike into Gunnison. And I want to start at that early, so I want to be close to the trail when I camp. To the road when I camp, just to make sure that if I have trouble getting a ride, that I can still get to Gunnison at a reasonable hour to do stuff. So I did chat with Javelin some more, but I decided to kind of rebuff his, unstated offer to, hey, let's camp together and hang out, and went up further to try to find a camping area up there. It was tricky. It was going to be in a meadow, which isn't great for camping. You can get condensation. And there's also a lot of cows. So that's one thing that this latest part, there's sections where there's cows, and of course all their subsequent cow patties they're mucking up water sources. So it's a concern. So I kind of got a bunch of water at that water source by where Javelin was camped, went on up, found a decent campsite. I did get a fair amount of condensation, so I had to dry my tent out today. But it was fine. I was there right at dusk, so I did end up having to cook and do some setup in the dark, which was fine. But while I was cooking, oh my gosh, it was a beautiful sunset. So, we haven't had much sun, so we haven't had many sunsets. It's all been overcast. But it was really nice because we'd had some clouds that day, but not, annoying ones, but ones that make pretty sunsets. So really beautiful. So that was nice. Did have to hike through some cows. That was no big deal. No bulls that I could see, fortunately. There was a dog off in the distance that was acting like a wolf. And I was like, the way he was howling and yipping and stuff like that, I was like, It sounds like a wolf. Do they have wolves in Colorado? I wasn't too concerned, but it's kind of funky. Let's see. Oh yeah, and I met some northbound Colorado Trail hikers, which I think these are the first ones I've met. I met a couple, and then also another single guy that were going north. So that was a bit unusual. I also went through the Marshall Pass area, and that was really pretty, and had some nice views. So it wasn't a total slog and loss on that day, but it was kind of a shame that we had so many days that were overcast when we were up high in elevation and had great views. And, you know, we're getting great weather, and I'm going through this forest where there's hardly any views for at least in the afternoon, and a bit of a slog. Even now, these rocks on these trails are just not fun. So anyway, oh, the other thing is I met a guy that was actually working on the trail. He was rerouting it on a grant paid for by like a Salida motorcycle club. And yes, that means there are motorcycles on this portion of the trail. So like from Monarch Pass to where I am now, they allow motorcycles. And I through several other sections, I think, of the trail, there's potential for motorcycles. Fortunately, I'm coming through in the middle of the week, so I've only seen 5 so far. It's not been bad, and there've been a couple of cyclists, but not too bad. But I understand on the weekend, this area is pretty popular with motorcycles and bicycles, so I hopefully can avoid that. I'm planning to go into Gunnison on Friday, which is tomorrow. So yeah, maybe I'll miss all of that. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, motorcycles are pretty unpleasant out here. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. So talk to you soon. Bye.